In the US, we seem to only talk about two political parties. Don't like taxes? Republican. Want more social programs? Democrat. But the fact is, there are a ton of political philosophies and affiliations out there. One of these is libertarianism, and it has grown increasingly popular over the past few elections. If you've never heard of it, that's fine. A recent poll found that even amongst self-described libertarians, nearly a quarter of them had no idea what the word meant. So what exactly is libertarianism? Well, the most well-known version is the one that grew out of the 1960s counterculture movement in the US. In short, the libertarian philosophy says that everybody should have absolute freedom to live their lives how they see fit, as long as they respect everybody else's right to do the same. This generally means that most libertarians advocate for minimalist government on the basis that it should have no say whatsoever in the decisions a person makes about his or her personal life. This is a pretty Republican-leaning ideal. At the same time, libertarians stress social freedoms like the right to gay marriage and abortion. In a nutshell, libertarianism appeals to people because it combines both political worlds. That may be why the Libertarian Party has been called the third largest party by both membership and popular vote in the US. But libertarianism is unique in its own way. It tends to support what is called a night watchman state, where the only function of a government is to protect its citizens from being injured or defrauded.
My dangerous idea is that we should legalize all of the currently illegal drugs. Not just marijuana, but cocaine, heroin, methamphetamine, LSD, everything else that's out there. My basic argument is that, first, in a free society, we should allow people to consume whatever they want, no matter how dangerous, no matter how much it might be bad for them, because that's what freedom means. Not just the freedom to do things that are good for you, but the freedom to do things that might not be good for you, or that other people might think are not good for you. Second, by trying to discourage people using drugs and trying to discourage the genuine unfortunate circumstances which happen sometimes because of drug use, we incur far worse negative outcomes, far worse cost than would result simply from the use of drugs in a legal framework. So what are all these adverse consequences of attempting to prohibit drugs? Well, to begin with, we don't actually eliminate drugs, we drive the market underground. And the underground market for drugs is violent, it's corrupt, it has poor quality control. In the attempt to enforce it, we have to infringe civil liberties by basically shredding the Fourth Amendment to the Constitution. We reduce the ability of people who are sick to use drugs like marijuana or opiates freely to reduce pain, to relieve nausea from chemotherapy, and a whole range of other symptoms. We interfere in other countries. The violence that we observe in Mexico, the profitability underlying the Taliban in Afghanistan. All those result from the fact that we've driven drug markets underground, and so terrorist groups make a profit by selling their protection services to the drug traffickers. The drug traffickers get the protection, and the terrorists get profits. So that's another ancillary cost of trying to wage the war on drugs. So my view is that if we had a fully legal market for all of these substances, we would observe roughly the same set of things we observe now for alcohol, for caffeine, for tobacco, for other products which can be dangerous. We would see a large fraction of people use them in moderation, use them reasonably responsible, with at most mild negatives for themselves or for others. We would see a small fraction who would misuse them in bad ways, but mainly they would adversely affect themselves, not the rest of society. And that's a far better balance, in no way, shape, or form a solution in the sense of eliminating all negatives, but a far better balance than the current policy of trying to prohibit drugs.
Of social justice. The welfare state is not really about the welfare of the masses. It is about the egos of the elites. One of the most dangerous things about the welfare state is that it breaks the connection between what people have produced and what they consume, at least in many people's minds. For the society as a whole, that connection remains as fixed as ever, but the welfare state makes it possible for individuals to think of money or goods as just arbitrary dispensations. Thus, those who have less can feel a grievance against society and are less inhibited about stealing or vandalizing, and the very concept of gratitude or obligation disappears, even the obligation of common decency out of respect for other people. The next time you see a bum leaving drug needles in a park where children play or urinating in the street, you are seeing your tax dollars at work, and the end result of the vision of the anointed.